What would you do if the woman you loved, the one you built a life with, shattered your world with a single, careless text message? My phone glowed at 2 a.m., a notification from a number I didn't recognize. It was a photo, a blurry selfie of my wife, Sarah, in a hotel room that wasn't ours, her arm draped around a man whose face was obscured, but whose smug smile was unmistakable. The caption beneath it, from her phone, read, "Another perfect night, babe. I can't wait for tomorrow." My breath hitched, a cold dread seizing my chest, twisting my gut into knots. The air in our bedroom, usually a sanctuary, suddenly felt toxic, suffocating. I stared at her sleeping form beside me, the innocent rise and fall of her chest a cruel mockery of the betrayal burning on my screen. Who was this man? And how many perfect nights had there been? The silence of the house screamed, and I knew, with a chilling certainty, that my life, as I knew it, was over. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel, tell us where you're from, and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. The humiliation hit me first, a tidal wave of shame that threatened to drown me. Sarah, my Sarah, had done this. The woman I'd sworn to cherish. The one who'd promised forever under the stained glass ceiling of St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York City had reduced our marriage to a cheap secret. For weeks I'd noticed the subtle shifts, late nights at work, hushed phone calls, a new perfume that wasn't for me. I dismissed them as stress, as my own paranoia. Now the pieces clicked into place, forming a grotesque mosaic of deceit. She'd become cold, distant, her eyes holding a calculating glint I'd never seen before. Our conversations were clipped, her touch mechanical. I remembered a dinner at a small Italian place on Bleecker Street, her phone constantly buzzing, her excuses flimsy. I was a fool, a blind, trusting fool. The slow discovery was agonizing. Started with her phone, a violation I justified with the depth of her betrayal. Texts to Mark from accounting were filled with pet names and plans for lunch meetings that stretched into evenings, receipts for expensive dinners at places like Per Se, far beyond her usual budget, appeared in her purse. One afternoon while she was showering, I found a second phone, hidden in a false bottom of her jewelry box. This was her real secret keeper. The messages on it were explicit, detailing not just one affair but two. The first, with Mark, was ongoing. Second, with a man named David, had just begun. David, a slick, arrogant real estate developer I'd met once at a charity gala in Los Angeles, his smug face now burned into my memory. He was the one in the selfie. My emotional breakdown was quiet, internal. I didn't rage. I didn't scream. I simply broke, piece by agonizing piece, in the solitude of my home office. Staring out at the Chicago skyline, the city lights blurring through my tears, but from the ashes of my broken heart, something cold and hard began to form, resolve. I would not be a victim. I would be a strategist. I began to gather proof, meticulously, patiently. I installed discreet cameras in our home, capturing her late-night calls and hurried departures. I hired a private investigator, a former NYPD detective named Frank, who tracked her movements, providing me with time-stamped photos of her entering hotels in Dallas with Mark and later with David. I mirrored her phones, downloading every text, every email, every incriminating photo. I built a dossier, a mountain of evidence that would leave no room for doubt. Sarah, meanwhile, grew bolder, more manipulative. She'd gaslight me, accusing me of being paranoid, of not trusting her. She'd flaunt her new clothes, her new confidence, believing herself untouchable. Mark and David, in their own ways, contributed to her arrogance. Mark, a spineless coward, simply followed her lead. David, the smug developer, seemed to relish the illicit thrill, sending her lavish gifts and planning weekend getaways to Miami. They thought they were clever. They thought they were safe. My revenge would be a symphony, each note carefully planned, each movement designed to dismantle her life, brick by agonizing brick. First, the legal traps. I consulted with the sharpest divorce attorney in Los Angeles, a woman known for her ruthless efficiency. We drafted papers that would leave Sarah with nothing but the clothes on her back, citing infidelity as the primary cause, backed by my irrefutable evidence. I secured our joint assets, freezing accounts, transferring funds, ensuring she couldn't touch a dime. Then, the social traps. Sarah prided herself on her social standing, her carefully curated image among the elite of our community. I began to subtly leak information, anonymous tips to gossip columns, carefully worded emails to mutual friends, hinting at her indiscretions. I knew the power of whispers, how they could erode a reputation faster than any public accusation. The public exposure was orchestrated with surgical precision. It began with the divorce filing, a cold legal document that landed on her desk at work, not at home. The news spread like wildfire. Then, the carefully curated evidence began to surface. The photos of her and Mark, then her and David, appeared on a popular local blog, then on social media. The texts, the emails, the hotel receipts, all laid bare for the world to see. Her carefully constructed facade crumbled. Her friends, once so eager to bask in her reflected glow, recoiled in disgust. Her family, mortified, disowned her. Her career, built on a foundation of trust and respect, imploded. I watched from a distance, a silent observer to the destruction I had wrought. She called, she begged, her voice hoarse with desperation, pleading for forgiveness, for a second chance. She cried, she screamed, she promised to change. I let her. I let her grovel, let her feel the full weight of her choices, the crushing despair of losing everything. And then, when she was at her lowest, when she thought there was nothing left to lose, I showed her the second affair. The evidence of David, the smug developer, the one she thought I didn't know about. The look on her face, the utter soul-crushing realization that I had known all along, that I had played her, was a masterpiece of despair. It was the moment her world didn't just end, it evaporated. The ending was quiet, cold. I saw her once more, months later, in a coffee shop on a rainy Tuesday in downtown Chicago. She was alone, her eyes hollow, her once vibrant hair dull. She didn't see me, just stared out the window, a ghost of the woman I once loved, a monument to her own undoing. I felt nothing. No triumph, no joy, just a profound, chilling emptiness. The silence of her ruin was the only sound I heard. Thank you for joining us on this journey. If this story moved you, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you never miss a new release. We appreciate your support more than you know.